The arrival of 3D Atlas, a mysterious visitor from beyond our solar system, has left astronomers across the world in awe and disbelief. They call it 3D Atlas, an object so unusual, so alien in its behavior, that it shatters the boundaries of everything we thought we understood about the universe. It didn't arrive with the drama of fire or thunder. There was no explosion, no blazing entry through the night. It simply appeared, silent, unannounced, as though it had been drifting there forever, waiting for eyes capable of noticing it. When the first telescope detected its faint shimmer, it was dismissed as a distant comet, a frozen traveler of dust and ice wandering aimlessly through the void. But within hours, that assumption began to fracture. Something about it was different: its movement, its brightness, its calm refusal to behave like anything known. Soon, observatories from every continent turned their gaze toward the newcomer. Powerful telescopes locked on, each scientist desperate to catch a flicker, a whisper, a single clue from this uninvited wanderer. At first glance, 3D Atlas seemed harmless. A relic of another solar system, a forgotten piece of cosmic debris lost among the stars. But the deeper they looked, the stranger it became. Its orbit didn't belong to the predictable harmony of the solar system. It moved faster, not in a chaotic drift, but in a measured, intentional path that cut cleanly across the solar plane. It was as if the object was navigating, not merely falling. And then, there was the light. A glow so intense, so hauntingly steady, that it seemed to breathe with purpose. Most comets borrow their brightness from the sun. They shine because they reflect light. But this one defied that rule entirely. Its glow came from within. A constant, pulsing radiance that followed a rhythm, not the random twinkle of reflected sunlight, but a precise sequence that repeated again and again with mathematical perfection. It was like listening to a song in a language we couldn't yet understand. Scientists tried to fit it into familiar boxes: chemical reactions, magnetic fields, solar energy. But none of them explained what they were seeing. Spectral scans revealed no signs of dust, rock, or ice. No chemical fingerprints. Nothing that matched anything in nature. The data suggested something impossible: that 3D Atlas wasn't just reflecting light. It was creating it. The thought sent chills through research teams. Because if that was true, then this object was not just drifting through the cosmos, it was powered by something. Something unknown. Something built. Weeks passed, and every night brought new revelations. Each telescope, each camera, found new wavelengths, new pulses, new riddles to solve. And yet, for all the observation, 3D Atlas remained completely silent. No radio signal. No heat signature. No debris. Only that perfect, unwavering glow, beating like a pulse in the dark. Some called it a heartbeat of the universe. Others said it looked like a beacon, as if some ancient technology was trying to speak across the emptiness of time and space. Every frame of data made a natural explanation seem less and less possible. It was as if the object knew we were watching. As if it was waiting for us to notice the pattern it was sending. For generations, humanity has studied the heavens with quiet confidence that we understood their rhythm. But with 3D Atlas, that rhythm broke. It didn't follow the rules of the cosmos. It danced to its own design, a design that felt deliberate, intentional, and impossibly intelligent. And in that moment, as its cold light shimmered against the black canvas of space, the question that had haunted humanity for centuries rose once more. What if this wasn't just a visitor from the stars? What if it was something made? A creation, not an accident? A message, not a mystery? The night sky had never felt so alive, and never so unknowable. The signal, the theories, and the legacy as the glow of 3D Atlas continued to pulse across the dark. a single name began to echo through the scientific world. Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist known for walking the thin line between logic and imagination. To some, he was a dreamer chasing ghosts. To others, a visionary unafraid to question reality itself. When he examined the data from 3D Atlas, he didn't see randomness. He saw rhythm. He saw structure. He saw intention. Night after night, Loeb and his team pored over brightness curves, spectral lines, and faint anomalies hidden within the glow. And then, he made a bold claim, one that rippled through every observatory and university on Earth. He proposed that 3D Atlas might not be a natural object at all. Perhaps, he said, it was artificial. A technological relic. A vessel. Or even a signal from another intelligence, reaching across light years to ask one silent question. Is anyone there? Some scientists scoffed. They called his theory reckless, born of imagination rather than data. But others leaned in, drawn by the courage of the question itself. Because if Loeb was right, then 3D Atlas wasn't just a visitor, it was proof. Proof that intelligence could exist beyond Earth, and that it had reached us before we were ready to understand. As debates erupted around the world, one fact remained undeniable. 3D Atlas did not behave like any comet ever recorded. Its speed began to increase. Not gradually, but deliberately, as if propelled by an invisible hand. No natural outgassing. No radiation pressure. No gravitational assist. It was accelerating under its own power. Astronomers watched in awe as it began to drift further from the Sun, gaining velocity as though following some unseen command. The media called it an alien probe. Social networks exploded with theories. Children looked up at the sky and asked their parents if the stars were watching back. Even the skeptics fell silent. Because whatever 3D Atlas truly was, it had already changed everything. It changed how we think about interstellar visitors. It changed how we define life. It changed how we see ourselves. And then, just as quietly as it came, it began to fade. Its light dimmed, its rhythm slowed, until at last it vanished into the eternal black. A spark swallowed by infinity. But it left behind something more powerful than light. It left a question, one that still echoes through every observatory, every heart that dares to wonder. What if it was a messenger? A traveler sent from a distant civilization, to see who among the stars was listening. What if, for one fleeting moment, the universe had spoken to us, and all we did was stare? Today, the mystery of 3D Atlas remains unsolved. Data continues to be studied, patterns decoded, theories reborn. Avi Loeb and his team persist, their curiosity burning brighter than the object itself. And somewhere beyond the reach of human eyes, 3D Atlas still drifts, a lonely traveler crossing the frozen dark, perhaps carrying a story older than the stars themselves. Its fading glow reminds us how small we are, and how miraculous it is that we have the courage to look up at the sky and ask why. Because in the vast silence between the galaxies, one question still remains. Was 3D Atlas simply a wandering stone of chance? Or was it the first whisper of another intelligence, reaching out through the dark, waiting for an answer that may never come?